today's call. This is the January 2nd, 2018 VOLTHA TST call. And so we are recording this session and we'll post it later to the VOLTHA playlist. And I did want to do a recap of where we left things off last time. And so our last meeting was towards the end of December, and we do have our target to release 1.2 by the end of this week. And we'll look at where we are with documentation updates when we go over and review JIRA tickets for the sprint momentarily. I did want to check on this, a couple items here. And so one was the look for service providers to develop and prioritize use cases for OpenOMCI so that something could be presented to the larger community. Is that on track? Do you think we'll have something near term, Sean?
Let's see whether we can come up with something by next, by the lockdown.
Okay.
I think
that would be good. If we can discuss it during the lockdown, I think that would be a good target.
Right.
Okay. And then the next one is a closer date, because this is targeted for this Thursday's call in a couple of days. And so what we talked about in December was having architecture and framework proposals for OpenOMCI implementation to be presented during the VOLTHA TST call on this Thursday and discussed there. But as of yet, I still have no volunteers for content for that meeting. Do we have anyone represented or any companies represented on the call today that would like to give a presentation or a proposal on Thursday?
Hey, Julie, it's Sean Missette here from Radio Systems. So I think we'd probably like to make some presentation around that, just to put some ideas out there and get some feedback. So is this for this Thursday or this is for next Thursday?
This is for this Thursday. I think, is next week the lockdown, Sean?
Yeah, the next one.
Yeah, and so the goal was to have something to kind of trigger the discussions prior to the lockdown. So if that's possible, that would be great. If that's not feasible, then we'll just have to adjust our plans.
Well, we'll see what I can do. We need to kind of discuss it internally a little bit, and maybe get something we can discuss anyway.
Okay. I think the key driver here is to kick off those technical discussions and get people thinking about it so we can start forming a plan, and then that can hopefully lead to more productive lockdown. So if you could do something, that would be excellent.
This is a Chip. I might be able to put something together as well, just for some of the base fundamentals, because I've been looking at the OMCI code right now, and we started from broadband ONU, and there are some there's some simple changes that can be done to make it a little bit more resilient, and that work might be able to be used by a bigger, collection of state machines to actually do OpenOMCI.
Okay. So I think that sounds good. We've got a couple folks lined up for, tentatively at least, for Thursday's call, and so I'll include that in the meeting minutes when we send it out today. And thank you very much. I appreciate the help there. So, and yes.
One question was, is it based on the result? AT&T, the OMC aspect already been out there for a while, right? So what I'm saying is, does the ONU firmware or the OMCI stack on the ONU will need to be changed in order to meet the OpenOMCI spec?
There's some things that I've done that might make it easier to help implement it. A lot of stuff in the frame creation is hard-coded for specific MEs, whether you're doing a set or a create, that you can do slightly different and define the ME once and have the sets and create frames generate themselves. And then there's also the way that at least the Broadcom and the way we used to do the OMCI transmit and receive, there's some fundamental flaws in how it's implemented right now that can be that needs to be worked around so that we can have state machines doing IB uploads and software downloads all at the same time without walking on each other.
Okay, I guess maybe we can talk about that on Thursday. Because I thought some of the information had been set on the ONU. Can that be reset by using the VOLTHA or OpenOMCI? You know, so or is there something? Because I think those, as I said, I would assume the firmware come with a certain setting, right? So is that the goal? Is we're going to actually use, if that setting is different than the OpenOMCI, is that the adapter or the OMCI library is going to rewritten that or overwritten what's come with the hardware? That is one thing that I maybe, you know, I still don't quite understand. Sorry, I confused you all, but anyway, okay. So let's talk about that on Thursday.
Okay, sounds good. And then next, I think what we'll do is go over to our current sprint and see where we are on that. So we do have, I'll go to the documentation one, that's the top. I'll go to that in a minute. So starting with the items we have down here, we do have 4 in the done state, and then the majority of the adapter ones are, of course, in the in-progress state. Do we have an update on, do we think these will get resolved in order to meet the release target we have for 1.2 for the end of this week?
Sorry, I was on mute. This is Kim.
Hi, Kim.
I think that, yeah, I need to catch up a little bit on some of the, you know, the chatter that's been going on in that area. I think there was some of these things are implemented, but it comes up to the how to actually test and validate it. Okay. And before break, I did a little bit of work to see that, you know, the basic framework can go in there okay, but I just don't know exactly, you know, if we can select those, you know, say they're closed based on, yeah, we see, okay, you know, there's actually a test case that goes with it. For example, you know, some of those things are easier than others to provoke, like a failed fan or something like that. But when it comes to like a, you know, a thermal event or something like that, how do you really show that section is working? So I think I need a, just on my side, I need a, you know, another day or two to kind of look to see what the status of things are. Okay.
And is the test issue you're talking about, is that the VOL 553 test integrated?
It might, yeah, open that one.
Okay.
It might, that might be, yeah, I think that was, yeah, that was an overall tracking and acceptance one. But
okay.
Yeah, so this is like a top level encompassing one, but then if we go through each of those individual things, there'd be a test associated.
Yes. Okay.
Associated with that. So.
Okay. And the other one's in the in-progress state. So we'll anything else we need to discuss today on the adapter issues? I think we need a little time back since this is
yes.
January 2nd, and some folks have been out of the office.
I think the what's his name? Ranji.
Ranji, yeah.
Raji just sent out the email earlier to. So I think Kim, you're on the list also, right? They. Yeah, I think they seems to have some connectivity to the VOLTHA server in okay. ONF.
Just as a fact, their contracts are over now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think most of the stuff. Yeah, I was kind of being prepared for that, David, just to try to replicate in parallel what they were testing with. So, I think we should be pretty good shape on that. The question is, will we be able to, sew it all up and, for the release? And I just don't know where that is right now.
Okay. So, Sean, I think you and I maybe need to chat later about backup plans or something. We'll hope this gets done in time for the release, but I think I need to talk to you about that a bit later, and because we do have, we're trying to do this release to time it with for the DT field trial as well.
Right.
So I think I'll talk to you separately about that. We do have, let's see, this 546, and this is for ad support for proxy servers in build. Let me open it up in a larger view here. Okay, so it does look like there is something in Garrett for review. And so if we can have a look at that. Do not merge, okay. All right. So this does not look ready to go.
This has been out there for a while.
Yes, this has been out there for quite a while. So it looks like nothing new at the moment.
Yeah, I asked David. Some of this stuff is overriding some of the things that David did on the with some of the build system stuff. I think this predates even when we had our build problems. So I'm not sure. Maybe that patch needs to be refreshed or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the proxy servers are gonna affect some of the build changes. We still need to figure out how to merge my build changes in. I mean, it's going to be a disruptive thing a little bit.
Yeah, and then the point is testing it. Actually testing if that actually works. I think that Nokia was in a better shape to actually, since they used that, they relied on that functionality to see if it actually worked after it's all merged in there.
Yep.
And I am not certain based on, sorry, I need to go on mute for a second. Sorry, just had a minor coughing fit. Didn't want to subject you to that. I'm thinking from what I hear on the call today that, and especially since this has not been updated in quite a while, I am not terribly convinced that this is going to make it into 1.2 because of the risk of breaking other things, for example. Thoughts from the group here?
So Nokia put in the code back in November, right? So, and the last status is Sergio will review the code.
Right.
So, and David,
I don't see him on the call today.
David, what do we have? What I'm saying is,
have Sergio reviewed it? I don't know.
and when we'd initially put it into this sprint, it was if it can be done in a way that does not impact anyone that does not need to use proxy server, then it's acceptable. So we had kind of these conditional statements around it. And if we're trying to cut the release by Friday of this week,
Yeah, I mean, Sergio's
sure
been on PTO. I don't know exactly when he's coming back, if he's going to have time to go over this or not before it.
Do you think will Ken be able to take a look at this?
I can ask him. I'll have to look. I don't know their PTO schedules, to be honest. So I'll have to look and see if even he's going to be back this week. I will ping both of them, and I will respond to the meeting minute email with update if I can get a hold of them.
Okay.
Okay.
So the concern is we don't want this put in to break other things, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and Sean, this was mostly prompted by Nokia, because they had, in their build environment, had to have adjustments in these scripts made for the proxy. And I haven't seen any other issues or heard anybody else complaining that they can't do a build because of, no proxy server support. So it might be good just to take this one out of the release and defer it, but we can still, have prompt people to, to see if this one still wants to go in there. Sergio can review it, see what needs to be done.
And at one conversation, I thought I recalled that basically said, this is an environment issue. This isn't a build issue. And there wasn't actually anything that should be changed in the code. I thought there was a comment like that at one of these previous meetings. But again, I don't have the full context at the tip of my memory.
Yes. So it all needs to be refreshed again, I think. So
I agree. I think in the meeting minutes, I'm going to put this one as kind of at risk for this release. I expect it's going to move out to the following release, pending review. But it did look like from the comment here we had from Nokia that there wasn't a firm need for a target date, as far as I can tell. And so let's refresh the discussion on it. I'll capture a high-level comment about it in the meeting minutes about, this is at risk, and we'll kind of get the current state of how it looks. David, if you're able to get an update from folks, that's great. Otherwise, we can discuss this over email, and I think make a call by Friday on whether this should stay in or not. So let's see. Let me go back then to look at the other issues that we've got. And this one, okay, so we did have sort of a work in progress here on reorganizing and updating the VOLTHA wiki pages. And Tim, I think you were spearheading that effort, and I don't know the current status of it.
It's nothing has happened on that for a couple of weeks, so it may be an ongoing effort.
Right. That was my thought as well. I don't think there's any dependency that this that we have that requires us to stay in Sprint 4. So I'll leave it there for now. But to me it looks like more of it. This is kind of the story is kind of kicking things off, but I think this really is an ongoing maintenance effort. Okay.
Agreed.
And then we briefly talked about this overarching test story. Of course, that one is for the adapter again. So that's the only one not in the to-do state, and in progress state. And that makes sense since we're still waiting for the completion of these other stories first, I think. And the remaining items that we've got are all related to the documentation. And so we do have a couple of those noted as in progress. So thank you for the updates there from folks. And the remainder are still in the to-do state. So I'm not sure where folks are currently on the documentation updates, but our hope is to have that released at the same time, or at least quite close to when we have the 1.2 code released. So any concerns from folks that are assigned to do, or currently assigned to do, updates for the release notes? still on track for getting that done?
At least, I mean, for the adapter portion, I think we're trying to include the hardware and firmware. You know, that I think that one's under my name. So it's I probably will reach out to Adtran and then the Radisys again, or ONF regarding to the edge, at least the edge core adapter, because I think there is a new BAL just released and then the driver updated, so those information will probably need to be updated. So Kim, I probably reach out to you and maybe provide that information.
Yeah, Sean, before the break, I did a few updates in there, so you should look in the document. I hope I got it in there right. That started updating those, the BAL versions, and there's also, I think there was vol 5, was it 577? It was in the middle column there, Julie, scroll down. Somewhere, yeah, that one right there, 576. That is the latest BAL patch that Broadcom has released. So, and I have a patch for that that'll go up today, and for the driver side. So, and there's been a good amount of testing on that in the last 3 weeks. So, it's pretty. It seems to be pretty stable. All right, Sean, I'll coordinate with you on that.
Okay, and so on the 577, I'm just looking at that. So, is that the testing has been done and everything's working right now, or that's a DT? That's what DT, right? So
the registration ID.
Mm-hmm.
See if there are any other.
I know whether Kim, do you guys have anything?
Yeah, I need to check internally on the status of that one. It's just my first few hours back, so I need to quite a backlog of things to look at here.
I completely understand.
I enjoyed the break too much.
Right. So Julie, back to the documentation about the hardware, right? So right now, since Nokia and Calyx, they didn't make their adapter available on VOLTHA, so I don't think we need to do much to include their information, because they are not open. And so right now, as far as the open ones, I think it's the Sienna, the BAL, the Broadcom adapter using the SDK, and then the Tibet. I think Paul, I sent an email back to you guys whether you just want to make sure your existing adapters still work with the VOLTHA 1.2. If not, then we probably need to not include that. I think you guys are going to check on that.
Yeah, I'll talk to the team today just to see where we are with testing.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the Adtran, and then the edge core. I think we're also going to put some information regarding to the Scholastica. That's the Telefonica. I think that I sell. My like everybody, my brain's fried, right? So I think the Luca created a wiki page for the Scholastica release, so I'm going to try to see if I'll update information on that one. But as far as which VOLTHA they test against, I think that's still an issue. We have not got firm confirmation back to them whether they're using the publicly released VOLTHA or not. So I think we probably need to address that also.
Yeah, Sean, I also looked at that patch. Actually, my memory is weak on that now since I looked at it before break. But the patch was kind of weird because it duplicated some directories that were already there. So I'm just not sure, how easily that one will go in. And also there was not a lot of reviewers onto that, and it was somewhat the way that it went into Garrett. It didn't. It just was done differently. It just didn't have a lot of external reviewers on it. And then we were in the process, before break with that. The email notifications were spurious to, to some people. So I think we need to maybe have start bringing that up in email thread. I think you had an email thread going with Telefonica on that review.
Right.
You should pick up something there. But that would be a good thing that you could find out if that was intended to target into the 1.2, or did they test that all against 1.1?
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments from folks on the release notes? So hopefully we'll start getting some updates in there throughout the week as we get closer to our target release date. And then I think we had a couple new issues come in that we should review as well. Before I switch tabs, anything else from the group on the call that needs discussion related to Sprint 4 and the issues in Sprint 4? Okay, then I think I'll just quickly go over to look at the new issues that have come in since our last meeting. And one bug was noted, and that one is VOL 585, gem interworking TP class missing mandatory operations. And so Chip, that one was reported from you. You do have it listed as lowest priority, so to me that does not sound like it's one that would be targeted for this sprint, but I do see that it is in Garrett here.
Yeah, it's a one-line addition. Basically, in when they're defining the MEs, they have a attribute called mandatory operations, and it just had to do next to it. So.
Okay.
Chip, we just want to get, just want Satish to look at that, and then that one's ready to go, merge in.
Okay. So should I go ahead and move this one into Sprint 4? Because it sounds like we expect it will probably be merged in time. Okay.
Yeah, it will merge as, probably today.
Okay.
Whenever you do it, Chip.
Okay. I wasn't a owner, so I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not assigned. Yes. Who should we assign this one to?
Oh, you can assign that to me.
Yeah, we should probably have Steve. I'll talk to Steve Crooks about that's kind of in the gray area of ownership. It's kind of in I don't think there's going to be any problem. I'll just coordinate with Chip to merge, with Steve to merge it.
I'll get this fixed later here. I'm having problems. Boy, I went on vacation too long here myself, I think. I'll get this one moved into Sprint 4 after the call since I'm having issues with it right now. Okay.
Is it done?
What? No. Whoa. No. Oh, sorry. That was it in the to-do state or no, in progress? Sorry. Thank you for catching that, Sean. I'm interpreting the done as, yes, I'm done with this page. I want to go back to the previous one. Okay, let's try this again. I'll go back to the issue.
So I guess based on the conversation, Steve Crooks still involved with the VOLTHA project?
Yeah, he plus one that review that we were just looking at. So I presume so. And Steve's module owner for Broadcom ONU, and that's kind of co-ownership between for Radisys and and Sienna on that. So, but as far as I know, he's still involved.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other items we have were, oh, and these were actually created, the rest of them were created prior to our previous call. So I don't think we need to probably review those today. Okay. So let me go ahead and go back. I'm going to go back to our previous notes and kind of recap where we are right now. So it looks like we're going to see if we can get the use cases ready for the lockdown meeting that Sean's coordinating for next week. And then we will hopefully have some presentations or discussion material from Sean and from Chip for Thursday's call related to the OpenOMCI implementation and what would need to be done to support that. A reminder to folks also that there is that page that Chip created about the current OMCI library implementation. And then Sean, you and I need to talk a little bit about kind of the current state of things related to the adapter, particularly because we do want to make sure we can do what we can to support DT's field trial with 1.2. So I do want to talk to you afterwards. And then we have the documentation issues are, some of them not yet started, but others in progress. And again, if we can get those updated as we're moving along towards the release, that's great. Then for VOL 546, that was about the proxy server. That one likely will move out of this release. So we'll find out more later after some email discussion. And I think that's where we are currently. Are there any other roadblocks people see other than the ones discussed today, mainly about the adapter, roadblocks to release 1.2?
No.
Okay, so that sounds good. I think we've probably covered what we need to for today then. Any other comments? Oh, yes, Sean.
I sent out the proposal agenda for the next week. I know it's coming out very soon, but apologize for having people travel on the second week after they come back. Right now, I believe we have the representative from Adtran will be here, Redisys, and Sienna, and Tippett, and Nokia, and DT. I missed someone. Calix, well, I have not heard back from them, but I think they will, since they are local, they will attend. If you need any travel help regarding to the hotel arrangement, I can send out the list again. As I said, using the, if when you book the reservation, maybe use the AT&T name and see whether they can give you a better discount. If you have not received the agenda, let me know. I also invite the Scipio on the second day to participate in some of our discussion regarding to the G.fast DPU design. Right now, I have not heard back from Broadcom whether they will be attending. I also sent out the invitation to Comcast. But that email was sent out after the Sarab reminded me, so I don't know whether they will be attending. If you have seen the agenda, the netconf configuration or the owners has the dynamic configuration, which is also related to the netconf yen. So I invited Tom to the meeting also, and because I think that there is a way we can support using VOLTHA to support both VOLTHA owners support the device configuration using the netconf yen and the servers configuration. So I think that is a big part of the framework discussion we'd like to address. I think during the core build, we have that meeting when we sit down with DT on site, and some people called in. That one, I think there was a discussion regarding to whether VOLTHA is handling much more than just hardware abstraction at the current design. So I think that's one of the concern I have, and I would really like to see whether we can make a very clear framework architecture definition, so we don't change too much from the initial design of the hardware abstraction for the VOLTHA project, but at the same time we can also accommodate other features. So that's something I think maybe the dynamic configuration from the ONO side can help some way. So it just so just a little bit briefing before we come into next week regarding to what the agenda I put together. But if you have any suggestions, please let me know, so that we can cover as much as we can. Again, I'm intended. So right now I'm going to announce it much earlier. Maybe alongside of the Open Networking Summit, there will be another lockdown. I think we will be much closer to the closing of the 1.3 and then moving on to 2.0. So there will be another lockdown, I think during around the ONS summit time. So I promise I'll try to plan that early so we can make a much earlier travel arrangement. So anybody have any question regarding to next week? And I do hope people come in with some kind of idea regarding to what the community should do and what would be the best approach to make sure the success of the VOLTHA project. So any I think it will be an open discussion during the lockdown, mostly a framework architecture. So be prepared. Any question? And Julie, can you stop the recording now?
Sure, I will do that. And just a reminder for folks, we are meeting on Thursday to discuss architecture issues for the TST call. And then I think that is it for our content today. Thanks.
I